Hello everyone and welcome to Cranbrook School. My name is Will Tutor, I'm the head here and if I haven't met you already I look forward to doing so in due course. We're very excited to welcome your children here in September. I think you will already have decided what makes Cranbrook special because you've chosen the school for your child. But by way of reminder, really we're unique in the school sector in the UK. We are a selective state boarding school. And in the grammar school world in Kent, we are also one of only 3 co-ed grammar schools. Our boarding community gives us a very outward looking ethos. Our boarders come from everywhere between Tunbridge Wells and Hong Kong, and they represent about 1/3 of our school. So we're very proud of our boarding and our boarding traditions. Of course, we're selective and our academic standards are high. We've got a beautiful 75-acre site, not just of sports pitches, but of valleys and green space where children can run around, play and grow. And of course, be away from the built-up urban areas that most other grammar schools are in. We've been going for over 500 years. Hopefully that means that we're getting it right. We know what we're doing. And we're very proud of the traditions that we have inherited from previous generations of Cranbrookians and the staff. And finally, it's not just about academic results, it is about the whole child. So what we are looking to do is to make sure that we turn out rounded and grounded citizens of the world, which is a huge cliche, but we genuinely mean it. What I'm wanting to create here is genuinely great human beings. And finally, what we all want this school to be is a school for life. So not just something that you do between the ages of 11 and 18, but something that you're proud of and have affiliation to for the rest of your life through the Old Cranbrookians Association. It's a school for the community, the local people of Cranbrook and the surrounding areas we have quite a symbiotic relationship with them, where we seek to be a really valuable part of the town, and the town in turn benefit from our community on the school as well. And we want to be a school for everyone. So whatever your background, whatever your circumstances, we are a school for you. There's no sense of elitism here. So I'm very proud to show you our mission and values, which we updated just this year, and I think captures the spirit of this school better than the previous efforts. And I want to just explain a little bit of the language in them. So our mission is to provide an outstanding all-round education with academic fulfilment at its heart. And the reason that we chose that word fulfilment is to give that suggestion that we value learning for learning's sake. It's not simply about those final exam results. This isn't a school where we churn children through a sausage machine of assessment in order to raise grades, etc. This is a school that helps children find their own academic passions and then pushes them to achieve within those. Secondly, to add value to our local community and provide exceptional boarding for those outside it. Adding value to our local community is as much about making sure that we are educating as many of our local children as possible as being involved with the town, having a close relationship with Cranbrook Primary School, and making sure that we're a major part of significant events in the town. And number 3, developing curious, resilient and empathic young adults who are confident to follow their own paths. For me, those 3 things, curiosity, resilience and empathy, are a toolkit for modern life that every one of our 18-year-olds who leaves should have. And that confidence to go your own way is very, very important. Our mission then feeds into our values. Any school's values should always start with kindness. If we have a kind community, then children can become who they want to be. Integrity, the importance of being honest and doing the right thing when no one's looking. Curiosity, being open to new experiences, making sure that you are going that extra mile with your reading on the academic side of things, but also opening your mind and trying new things, whether that's activities, sport, drama, whatever it is. Curiosity is important in life. Aspiration, aiming high, whatever you're doing, and then individuality. One of the important slogans really that our last senior four, those are our school captains, came up with in their time in charge of the school, kind of trying to pick the school up after COVID, was the importance of being able to come to school as yourself. And we feel that individuality has for a long time really been celebrated at Cranbrook, and we're proud to continue to do that explicitly in our values. Now, you may know that we recently had an Ofsted inspection. It's important to state that we don't educate children for Ofsted, but what they have said is some great things about our school that I wanted to draw your attention to. On this slide, all of these words were used by the inspectors during the report, and I will read out to you one or two of the key lines I think that I'd like you to take away. So all the inspectors said, we all agree that we would love to attend this school, which I think was a great credit to Cranbrook and the pupils in it. Pupils feel part of the close-knit community. They say that there's always someone they can talk to if they're worried about something. Pupil leadership is at the heart of the school. They're actively involved in leading change. Pupils love the diversity of the school. They feel that everyone's treated equally, and if they see or hear something that's not right, they challenge it. Developing pupils' character and encouraging individuality are important. Pupils are highly motivated to do well. They have a thirst for learning and show mutual respect. The curriculum prepares pupils well for life. Ambition for all pupils, including those who have special educational needs and/or disabilities, is woven into the fabric of the school. Teachers are experts and have good subject knowledge. The high expectations staff have for pupils lead to excellent behaviour in lessons and at social times. A feeling of calm and purposefulness pervades the school. It encourages pupils to become well-rounded, responsible individuals who have an active part in society. And finally, pupils develop independence, resilience and curiosity during their time at school. They're prepared well for their future lives. I was delighted that the Ofsted inspectors found so much of what is in our mission and values to be true at the school. And I'm really hoping that your children will also enjoy that environment and those values. So I'd now like to introduce my Deputy Head, Miss Mandy Smart, who will talk to you about pastoral care at Cranbrook.
Hello and welcome. As Will said, I'm Mandy Smart and I'm Deputy Head at Cranbrook School. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the pastoral care that we have in school, as well as highlight some of the important bits that you will have had in the information you receive from us in our new parent guide. You will see the interlinking sections of pastoral support across the school here, and Rose will talk a little bit further about the role of the tutor when she comes on to her bit in a moment. But if you have a look at the way that the pastoral care interlinks, and it really does provide a mixture of the pastoral care across the school. The tutor and the head of house are probably the most important people that your child will speak to, and we very much link in with the rest of the senior leadership team from those heads of houses. We tap into any external services that are necessary for any child, and that might be through any additional educational needs, such as the educational psychologist, or any services that we might get from the local authority as well. Our SEND team, or Special Educational Needs and Disability team, provides a really good service for any of those students who have any additional educational needs. And again, a little more about those in a moment. We have a team of safeguarding leads, so I'm the designated safeguarding lead in school, and I have a team of people that work with me that gives us a good coverage across the school. Kirsty Burnett is our director of boarding, and she's part of the team. Delith Davis, who's our SENCO, provides a really good link with those students who are in our AEN department or have any additional educational need. And Tony Harris is our head of PSHE. So we work across the school, provides that good remit to support students in different areas. Place to be are our counselling service, and they will provide some counselling for students directly through the counsellors, the one-to-one counsellors, or indeed through Laura Mercer, who's a school project manager, who would have a conversation with students if they just want to have a chat. That might be just a one-off, it might be a series of chats they want to go and speak to her about, and she is then able to refer the students on to counselling if she feels or the student feels that that's something that they're going to benefit from. We're lucky to have a medical centre in school, and that means that we have nurses on site during the school day. And for some students who are feeling a little bit wobbly, a little bit under the weather, they can visit our nurse on that particular day, who may be able to just support them with perhaps some tea and toast and a bit of a conversation, or for them to make a nurse's assessment as to whether that student really does need to go home or parents need to be contacted, or perhaps after that tea and toast they're well enough to go back to lessons. Peer listeners are our internal support service from the students. And at this time of year, our year 12s are coming forward, they volunteer for this, to put themselves forward for the peer listening course. Tony Harris puts them through quite a rigorous training programme, which enables them to develop some skills, some easy, basic counselling and listening skills. And it's a really good service when some of the students may not want to talk to us, members of staff in school, and may not want to talk to yourselves as parents, but actually feel it's something that they can talk to other students in school about. And so, like I said, trained students overseen by us. So if our peer listeners have any concerns, they would come to us about those concerns, but it enables students to have that extra group of people that they can talk to should they want to in school. Belonging, pride, community, competition, spirit, identity, tradition, and fun. Those are the words that students use to describe what it's like to be in a house at Cranbrook School. You can see here the list of all the names of all of the houses that we have across the school, all the day houses and all the boarding houses. And those listed in bold are the houses that Year 9 students will be joining. You will know at this stage which house your child is going into. So you can see from the slide here the name of the head of house and the name of the tutor who's going to be taking Year 9 in that house from September. You will have received by now a link to the new Parents Guide. This should provide you with everything that you need to know before your child starts with us in September. Please do contact us though if you're finding that there are further questions that you have or anything that you don't understand that's in that new Parents Guide. Please do get in contact with us. Rose is going to talk a little bit about communication in a moment, and I would reiterate the points that she's making about getting in contact with us, keeping that communication open with us. There's a couple of areas that I just want to pick up on. Attendance, I think, has become really clear to us over the last few years about just how important that is in school to be able to make the most of the lessons that we are providing in school. You'll find details in the new Parents Guide of how to contact the absence line if your child is ill in the morning, but we really would ask for your support in trying to ensure that we get the highest possible attendance from students as they're going through the year. Another area I'd like to pick up on is uniform. Do have a read through the uniform guide. If there are things you are very unclear about with the uniform guide, do please again get in contact with us. Maybe questions about the shoes, maybe questions about sport outfits, and it may be questions about which particular jumpers they are allowed. I find that when the students join us in Year 7 and when our new students join us at the beginning of the year, uniform is something that looks particularly good and it can tend to drop from some of the students. If you're out to buy expensive shoes, do give us a call if you're at all unsure as the type of shoes that would be suitable for the school and are part of our uniform. And do support us in making sure that students are wearing their full uniform when they come to school. Talking of uniform and sports kits and other pieces of property they have in school, do make sure students have got their property, their clothing named. We have a good lost property department. Unfortunately, it's quite busy a lot of the time. So we do try and reiterate to students how to making sure that they're keeping hold of their property and it is named, so if it does become lost, we can hand it back to the right students. I'm going to talk a little bit on the next slide about the rewards and sanctions that we have, and Rose is going to talk about homework, the assessment and reporting, and also our additional educational needs. A little bit about behaviour across school, and with that our rewards and our sanctions. Ofsted, when they came in, picked up on the good behaviour across the school. Their words, the good behaviour that they saw across the school. Will mentioned earlier the high expectations we have about the academic work that our students put in, and we also have high expectations of behaviour as well across school. You'll see there the rewards that we have in place. Merits for some of that daily activity, the contribution that students put into their work and into the school, commendations for those really exceptional pieces of work or exceptional behaviours that we see. We've recently introduced the Cranbrook Values Awards, which gives recognition to students who have really been putting in place, we've been demonstrating those values that we put in place across the school. We also give rewards to those who have high attendance across school, and of course looking at the high academic progress as well. You'll see the sanctions there. We do have after school detentions. We will give notice for those after school detentions, and for exceptional circumstances there will be Saturday morning detentions for students as well. Some students may find themselves on behaviour report. It's a supportive process targeting particular things that a student is struggling with that we can try and support them with to try and iron out any of those issues that they have. The last resort would be any kind of suspension. We continually review our processes and our procedures in school. And in this year, looking at behaviour, we agree across the staff of these basic areas of behaviour expectation. We expect our students to respect their learning, and there's a whole area that goes together there, not just the learning that goes on in classrooms, but the learning that happens in activities and the learning that happens from the moment they come into school in the morning until the moment they leave at the end of the day. We know that the other area that links with that is going to be making sure that they're staying safe. So the two key areas of behaviour expectations are respecting the learning and staying safe. These are the details that we've got here in front of you, and I don't really think here that there's anything that you would think of as unusual. Pretty normal expectations that we would expect, and we know that it's really important to make sure that those expectations we have of students are taught to them and that they are reminded of them. And with that teaching of how to put in place those particular areas and reminding of those particular areas, we can hope to celebrate the aspects that come out of the other end of that. So we can put in place the rewards, and we're hoping that we don't need those sanctions that are there in place. So details that are going to come through to the students as they start at the beginning of the year, the behaviour expectations they have in respecting learning, and behaviour expectations in making sure that they're staying safe. I'm now going to hand over to Rose Ratz, who's our head of Key Stage 3.
Hello, my name is Rose Ratz. I'm head of Key Stage 3 at Cranbrook School, and I'm responsible for Year 9's induction and looking after them all the way through the year. I'm responsible for their academic progress, their behaviour, and I oversee their pastoral care with their heads of house and tutors, of course. And it's me that's been sending you all the emails and information thus far. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we work together at Cranbrook with parents to support the children, because we are a team, and the children will flourish if we are working together and communicating healthily. So communication is really, really important. And the more that we talk to each other, the more that we share information, the better we'll be able to care for the students. So firstly, if you have any questions, any concerns, any queries, anything at all on your mind about your child, do get in touch initially with their tutor or head of house and share with them what your worries are. It's absolutely fine to just say you'd like a chat or you want to go over something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're asking the tutor or the head of house to act on something immediately. We really, really value the information that you have to give us, both about your child's experience in school and about how they are out of school and what's going on at home and anything there that might be impacting how they're doing. So do keep us up to date. Tell us all the great things that are going on as well. So we love to hear if there's been something to celebrate at home, maybe a birth of a sibling or a student doing particularly well in a sport or an activity outside of school, let us know and we can celebrate it in school as well. You will be receiving a weekly bulletin, and we do really strongly urge you to read it each week. It's got lots of useful information, and if there are any changes of plan at short notice, you will see them in the weekly bulletin. And from September, we'll be using the EdGen Reach app, and there'll be lots of information and training to follow. But basically, this is an app that you'll have on your phone, which will allow us to contact you either as a big group or individually to give you any information that you might need about events coming up, about your child's progress. You'll be able to see your child's rewards and sanctions on there. You'll be able to access their report. You'll be able to access all the information that we are sharing on them. You'll be able to also, there'll be two-way communication, so you'll be able to contact us as well through that app. You'll be able to see if they're in detention and whether they attended detention, and you'll also have within that app the Show My Homework app, which will show you exactly what their homework is, when it's due, whether they've done it, and you'll be able to keep a close eye on how they're doing with their homework and support them in getting it done. So I mentioned homework, and we'll be using the Show My Homework app from September. And each night, your child will be set 3 homeworks. There'll be a timetable, a homework timetable, showing you which homeworks to expect for each night. Each homework will last between 25 and 30 minutes, and it will say when it's set how long it should take the child to complete it, which is really useful, especially for children who tend towards perfectionism and maybe spend too long on one piece of work. We really strongly encourage students to do the homework on the night it's set, if at all possible, because that stops it all building up and becoming stressful later on. But we do understand that sometimes outside commitments mean that they have something else that prevents them from getting homework done on one night. So homework will always be set with a deadline of more than 24 hours. Homework is really important, and especially from the end of Key Stage 3 onwards, students are developing those independent study skills that will stand them in good stead all the way through their lives, and especially through their school career. It will help them build up the skills they need for revision, that resilience and stamina at working hard without somebody externally motivating them. And it also allows them to pursue their curiosities and to really get into learning outside of the classroom. So we really encourage it. We think it's super important, and we are very strict on making sure that students do work and learn how to meet deadlines. So there will be sanctions imposed if a student misses a deadline. So if there's any reason why a child might not be able to get their homework done, do let us know. So for example, if something has happened at home that's meant it's been impossible to get homework done, please contact your child's tutor, tell them, explain what's been going on, and then we can pass that through so that the child isn't unfairly sanctioned if there's a reasonable excuse for why they couldn't get something done. But in general, we would expect children to be managing their workload and working for about an hour to an hour and a half every evening, and getting into the habit of studying independently. So assessment is very important in Key Stage 3 because it allows us to monitor and track children's progress and make sure that they are learning in a way that means that they're going to meet their potential when they get through Key Stage 3 and into Key Stage 4 and 5. And it enables us, if we regularly assess them, it enables us to notice if they're not making the expected progress or maybe they're plateauing. And then often that helps us to dig a little bit deeper and find out if there's anything going on that might be causing them to not be learning as they might. Now, not all learning is linear. We don't expect children to make exactly the same progress as each other all of the time, but we do keep really close check on their assessments, and we do monitor that data and have conversations with students and parents if we notice that there's something going on in their assessment data that is a little bit worrying. So we start off year 9 with CATS tests. These provide us with baseline data on a child's likely performance. So it allows us to predict very, very broadly how they might do by the end of each year. And then all the way through Key Stage 3, we are using grades 1 to 7. Now, you might have come across the new GCSE grades 1 to 9, and we're using Key Stage 3 versions of these grades. You can find all of the descriptors on our websites, and departments will be sharing them with you as well. And what happens is that as the students go through and build up their skills and knowledge, they progress through these grades. So by year 9, we're expecting that students are achieving, by the end of year 9, most students looking at grades 5 and 6. Some will be achieving grade 7, that's our very top for year 9, and some, certainly in subjects that they're new to, especially if they've picked up a language from scratch, they might be achieving a 3 or a 4, and that is very laudable if you're a beginner in a language. So that's the sort of range of grades that you'd be expecting to see. We do reported assessments regularly, and students sit those assessments in class, or sometimes we report based on a sequence of homeworks or projects. We're using these criteria that you can find on our website, so you can see the progress that they're making through the year. And we'll report those to you digitally, so that you can see how your child is doing. And again, we wouldn't expect through the year that there would necessarily be an incremental growth in between every single assessment, because they might be assessing slightly different things in each subject. So maybe a child is particularly strong in one topic and then struggled more with a second. It doesn't mean that they're not making progress generally in that subject. But as the years go by, we would be expecting them to be making roughly 1 grade increase per year. And that means that a student that's scoring 7s at the end of year 9 looks likely to be scoring 9s by the end of year 11. We report to you in a number of other ways. We write a full report once a year, which will have a written feedback from each of your child's teachers in detail on how they've been doing. You'll also get a written report from their tutor and head of house there. And we have a parents' evening once a year. We use Microsoft Teams to do that, and we speak to you virtually, and you will get a chance to speak to the majority of your child's teachers and get feedback from them on how your child's doing and raise any concerns that you might have with them. At the end of year 9, we do the year 9 exams, and we arrange these as a kind of first taster of a public exam. So students go into exam halls and work under exam conditions, simply because we find that it takes the edge off any anxiety as the years go by if they've practiced doing exams in the more formal setting from year 9 onwards. Of course, we've already talked about communication. We are very happy to give you feedback on your children and discuss your child's progress. And you can contact me, you can contact your child's tutor or head of house, and you can contact any of your child's teachers if you have any questions. Normally, the best thing to do is to go to the tutor first, and they'll direct you to the member of staff that's most likely to be able to answer your questions there. But please feel free to get in contact, and you don't have to wait to a parents' evening to raise any concerns or ask any questions. So we have an extraordinary additional educational needs department at Cranbrook. It's situated in a building called Crane House, so you'll hear it referred to as Crane House, and it's led by Mrs. Delith Davies, our SENCO, and her team of learning support assistants. Sometimes learning support assistants are working in class, supporting students one-on-one or supporting around a whole class. Sometimes they're supporting students in Crane House, so a student might go to Crane House for some additional support. We also offer in Crane House nurture provision if students are struggling emotionally, if they're struggling with anxiety, if they're just having a difficult day. Crane House is a place that is always safe and supportive, and students can go and have some time. And sometimes students need to be there for a little while before they come back to lessons. And we know that the best way to get the best out of our students is to listen to them, to work with their parents, and to make sure that we all are fully aware that everybody's learning journey is different, and that in order to reach one's potential. Different people need different amounts of support in different ways. And the students who make use of Crane House vary from year to year. If you know that your child has additional educational needs, or you're concerned or you think that they might do please contact me. And you can contact Miss Davies direct as well, and we can talk with you about the provision that we could offer, about assessments, about the sort of strategies that might help your child, and then we can work with their teachers as well. The co-curricular offer at Cranbrook School is fantastic, and we encourage all students to get involved and to take on 1 or 2 extra clubs every term. I always encourage children to try something that's very new each term, something they've not tried before. Try something active each term. Try something creative each term. And if they find something they absolutely love and they want to keep doing that every term, brilliant. And if not, then they should go and try something else. A lot of our clubs and societies are run by the 6th form, and they run at lunchtime. And then we also have provision sometimes by outside organisations. And then we have the bigger groups like CCF and D of E, which are run internally through our head of adventure, Mr. Ross Hart. We will have a clubs and societies fair at the beginning of term in September, where all of the clubs and societies on offer will come and advertise, and we strongly encourage all students to come and bring their parents if at all possible, and go round and see what looks interesting and sign up for the sorts of things that they want to have a go at that year. It's a really good way just to see what there might be. Sometimes it can be a little bit trepidatious for new students to go and join a club, but I can honestly say you'll be met with huge welcome, and you will go in and find something that you've possibly never done before, and certainly a new group of friends. So to just list a few, we have dissection club, we have astronomy club, there's a club that investigates conspiracy theories, there's a feminist society, there's a society called Blend, which is all about diversity and inclusion in the school. We have all sorts of different groups meeting through the school day and in the evenings, and it is part of the Cranbrook experience to take those opportunities, grab them with both hands, throw yourself into them, and really make the most of what's there.
There's a separate induction for boarders which takes 2 days at the beginning of the September term. My hope, of course, is that if you're here as a boarding parent, that you have seen the boarding houses already and had a personal tour with one of our tour guides of that. But just to remind you, your child will be in one of 3 houses. If they are a boy, they'll be in School Lodge with the other Year 9 boy boarders, and if they're a girl, they'll either be in Scott, up on the hill, or Blueberry, down in the middle of the school, with girls from age 13 to 18. We're very proud of our boarding offer, particularly the fact that our houses are small, with 45 children maximum in them, which means again that in a year group of 9 to 10, every child can be really, really well known and looked after and supported. There is a group of boarding parents that you're very welcome to join, and we encourage that. It's called the ABC, or the Association of Boarding Parents at Cranbrook, and they are full of advice for new boarding parents, particularly in terms of local logistics, and of course also that crucial thing of a network of like-minded parents who can offer help, support and advice if necessary. We have regular meetings with the ABC committee. I meet them every term, and we go through issues that are specific to boarding. I do hope that your child will enjoy their boarding experience. I think it's one of the very best things that we do here. When you join Cranbrook, you also join a large network and community of parents and families who have chosen the school for the same reasons that you have. And the CSPA, or Cranbrook School Parents Association, is extremely active and supportive. The committee meet regularly, and I join in that meeting with them. And they have two functions. Number one, to help the parent community feel like a community, to provide advice, support, and social opportunities. And number two, within that, to help raise money and donate money to the school to enable those cherries on top that aren't possible with state funding to happen. And we're very, very grateful for that. Teachers are able to bid for funds for things that they need that are above and beyond their departmental budgets, for example. So we're always very grateful for the support of the CSPA, and it is a busy and supportive organisation. And then secondly, linked to that, we have a regular fundraising donation scheme called Cranbrook Together. We will ask you to sign up to it if you can in your joining literature. And Cranbrook Together helps provide elements of the environment that are essential for your children, and that not just essential, but they go above and beyond and make the environment excellent for your children. So Cranbrook Together helps fund our mental health provision. It helps fund elements of our co-curriculum, so it helps with our sport, it helps with our drama, our music, it helps with our clubs and societies, our D&V and our CCF, and it helps give your children the experience that you want for them from Cranbrook, and it helps make them those responsible, curious, empathic individuals that they always emerge at the end of their time at Cranbrook. So I do hope, firstly, that you'll feel that you'll want to engage with the CSPA and be part of the community here, and secondly, that you'll feel able to and want to donate to our regular giving scheme, Cranbrook Together. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure to introduce these aspects of Cranbrook to you as your children start out on their journey with us, and we're very excited to have them in September. I'm very excited personally to get to know them. My thanks to the head of Key Stage 3, Rose Ratz, who will be a key figure in your child's life and already has made a real difference to the feel of the junior part of the school here, and also to Mandy Smart, my deputy head, who is the key figure in making the cogs of the school run. I wish you all a very happy summer. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with any of us, either on the admissions side, Registrar Nikki Stewart-Blacker, on the general experience of Year 9 students at Cranbrook with Rose, or anything else with me. Thank you.